All right. So, you know, today I thought I wanted to start with just, you know, considering those reflections, you know, which we have been doing together over the last 2 months since these Wednesday meetings are happening. I'm wondering, you know, if they do they have any effect on your mind or on your life, you know, how you are approaching the polycrisis? Are there any new openings for you? That was one thing, you know, I was wondering about. And to just, you know, look in your own mind and see if some new perspectives might have opened up for you. And because, you know, in general, the purpose of meditation is to develop wholesome mind states. So it's a means to an end, because we want to encourage wholesome mind states and discourage unwholesome mind states. And my hope is, you know, that the practices we are doing together, that they lead us towards more wholesome mind states, lead us to a deeper sense of being connected with what's happening on the planet, and from that place of really being connected to reality, that will give or induce wholesome mind states. Even, you know, the reality is in some ways, you know, disconcerting and there's a lot of uncertainty, but the fact of being deeply connected to Earth and realizing, you know, that we are not separate from the planet, and that there's a very great you know, intelligence operating through all of those processes we can connect with, you know, the Dhamma, that in itself can induce actually very wholesome mind states, a sense of not being alone, a sense of being deeply connected and enriched by something so much bigger than ourselves, and that we don't need to be trying to continue with the story, you know, of being masters of the universe or ever, you know, having a chance to get there, but just starting to bow down to the fact that we are just part of this vast process. And we do have practices, and we can enact practices to be in deeper connection with that process. Because, you know, if we are like disconnected, we tend to make up a lot of stories about what is going on. Whereas if we can connect, then there is a sense of receiving and having information coming through us rather than us, you know, creating stories. So we can change our relationship to what we're experiencing by just simply, you know, putting energy into connecting with our experience and developing a wholesome relationship to it. And in regards, you know, to the whole polycrisis and the limitations of the biosphere, you know, we need to be interested in. There's like 2 kinds of meditations I particularly want to use on those Wednesday morning meetings. The first one being, you know, the meditation on the elements, which is a meditation in the first establishment of mindfulness in the 4 Satipatthana, you know, a very ancient teaching, which comes to us from Iron Age India. So that's a you know, practice which we can call vipassana, or leading to clear seeing about the way things really are. And then on the other hand, the Brahmavihara practices, which induce wholesome mind states through, you know, certain exercises which we are doing, either, you know, reflecting on a sentence, reflecting on an image, and then we are basically first we are doing the Brahma-Vihara practice, and then once it's established, we are it. The radiating practice, which I have been guiding us in. So it's a sense of offering up, certain assumptions and stepping into the limitless of the Brahma-Viharas. And both of those practices, they help us to refine our capacity for attunement to what's happening. Because, if we can't really feel or sense into what's happening, we tend to overthink, we tend to be a lot in our head. And even, if we are acknowledging that there's a certain numbness and we're not feeling much, we don't know, what emotion is here, because there's certain shutting down happening. Even, recognizing the numbness is already, a step into practice. Recognizing, that sometimes, the system numbs out because that was an early strategy to deal with overwhelm, and that has an intelligence to it, and that needs to be recognized. And through that recognition of the numbness, we start to slowly, transform it, or it transforms itself through awareness. So it's like, explorers who go into uncharted territory, for in service, kind of, in service for the transition which we are confronted with, if we are acknowledging it or not. We are in the middle of it already. And we can, we can cooperate and turn towards it and make ourselves available, not just for ourselves, but also for our loved ones, for our civilization, for all beings, really. And just add one more heart, one more mind into the mix, who is willing to become the immune system, which is responding to our situation. And not, by just thinking our way through it, but by making ourselves available through attunement. Saying, yes, I make myself available. I know, if I can't get away from it, I just need to really go into it. And that's a teaching, Ajahn Pasano is on record for having often shared, with the Sangha. And I remember it too, if you can't get out of it, you need to get into it. And I think we can't get out of this polycrisis just by thinking our way out of it. That is not possible. And I think everyone here on the call knows that. So then the next option is, if we can't get out of it, let us get into it. Let us really attune and go deeper and see what is unfolding through really making ourselves available for that process, to be witnessed and to be embodied by those who are ready for it. And, meditating together with this intention is powerful, I think. And that's what I hope, we're going to do together on these calls. So maybe we can now start, with a sit. And just, connecting with the breath and allowing the breath to take us into the body. Allow our nervous system to take us deeper. So the nervous system is, like an antenna throughout the whole body, like an antenna, an instrument, which connects the body and the mind. So the sensing with the nervous system and the cognitive process of the mind, if they are in sync, then we say, this makes sense. This makes sense to me. So being aware of the weight of the body, and the sense of gravity which connects us with the planet which is underneath where we are sitting. And sensing into that vastness which we are part of, like a wave on the ocean. So our nervous system can sense that like an antenna. So when we are breathing in, we can, just familiarize ourselves with that sense of being connected to something much vaster, much bigger than ourselves. And with the out breath, just letting go all tension, letting it just drop into the earth. And then just see what comes up when you are allowing that sense of connectedness and of depths to speak to you. Not through words, but through whatever it is, it might be, it will most likely be some kind of feeling, felt sense. That sense of deep connectedness, which is coming online again for many people at this time. Because we, really need that to reorient ourselves in what needs to be taken into account now. It almost reminds me of the, when we speak about early child development, there's a phase which is called the rapproachement phase. When the child, very happily, strides out and then gets scared and comes back again. And how important it is, that the parents are available to develop a sense of independence, but also a sense of relationship. And I think looks like we are in that phase now, where we get scared and we have to come back. And that's good. Because that fear of the unknown, how it's going to continue life on Earth, that brings us back to, quote unquote, the mother. Because we are a young species. And that's just the way it is. It's not our fault. It's just what we are, like this. And we have been so fascinated, by the toys of science and technology, which are truly amazing, but they are just not enough for a full life in a biosphere which is having limits. Other ways of sensing and knowing need to also be applied in order to have a balanced way of living. And that's, what we are starting to collectively open up to. Having, our indigenous brothers and sisters as the peoples who have been protecting that information for so long. So now we need to join forces. And by opening our minds to this, we can help, to prepare the path, to prepare the way for this transformation. To enter into the mainstream. At least trying. So sensing this vast and huge root system of our ancestors, which is in our bodies and in the planet, human ancestors, animal ancestors, plant ancestors, mineral ancestors, all beings which have gone before us. And we are standing on their shoulders right now, connecting them to future beings. So the vastness of all of this, we can sense, we can listen into that vast space, not just beneath us, but all around us. Spaciousness and the silence. Then we can just let go of the space and of the silence and be aware of that which knows about the space and the silence. Kind of a U-turn, conscious awareness. And being aware, of the quality of the mind, which doesn't cling to anything. Subtle joy maybe, or a sense of contentment. Sense of spaciousness and ease. Maybe, upekkha, equanimity, equipoise, which is present if the mind doesn't cling. And from that, perspective, looking at what we are speaking about here in these Wednesday mornings, and we are getting to know our body as an intelligent system, that's deeply connected to the planet and carries a long tradition of evolutionary intelligence. Which we can trust. from this place of grounding, remember, why we have come here today, why you're practicing with us. To consciously, being on a threshold like that, what a amazing situation that is. This is a true exploration of new ways of being a human being on this planet. And that's what is so needed right now. consciously standing on a threshold together. That's what is happening. And inviting emergence. The innate intelligence of nature, the Dharma. To guide us. Yeah, and as we are slowly, coming to the end of that sit, I'd like to share with you one more time the Aloka Earth Room prayer, which is a draft in progress. So I'm just gonna slowly read it. At Aloka Earth Room, we are engaged in an inquiry on how to adapt, create resiliency, and become more attuned to the current cultural context of the Anthropocene, or it's also called late stage modernity, late stage capitalism, or Kali Yuga. To be a contributing force for cultural evolution, we need to embody new and ancient ways of being. This requires great acts of courage as we shed our old belief systems, programming, and stories. We recognize that the evolutionary force that puts the stars in motion is moving through us and is a dynamic self-organizing process whose grace and guidance we can. Our vision is a future in which everyone knows that we are part of an intelligent living Earth. As a living laboratory, we are holding questions of how to decolonize our minds from the dominant culture of capitalism, patriarchy, racialized hierarchies, scarcity logic, and oppressive systems of control. How do we become stewards in service of all life while walking the Buddha's Noble Eightfold Path? Our prayer is to create an imprint of lived possibility in solidarity with all life, in dialogue with the living planet, and in service to the collective transition. I trust and surrender to the guidance of the Dharma, biointelligence, and emergence. I want to serve the letting go of old forms and emergence of the new until enlightenment. So that's, in a way, a summary of what I bring to the table or to the meditation cushions on those Wednesday mornings. And it's a full-hearted service, which I like to do myself, and because it is not easy, I hope, to share that wish with others. And by, meeting in this way every week and bringing this to mind, I think this is a training, we can do. And we can cultivate this new way of looking at the situation. We are all practitioners, all meditators, but we live in a particular time, which, potentially can become like a real impasse, for our civilization. We can no longer optimize those ways of being and doing. So it's like, those cracks opening up, and we just collectively, taking a look together. think that's you know, what we can do. Inviting the planet, inviting the Dhamma to speak to us. And, you know, making ourselves available. So I, you know, thank you from my heart, you know, for showing up.